So I started rewriting, I created a pilot, I created a DVD, and I sent the DVD over to RTL. I thought, I can produce a series for them. And remind you, I was still working at Nike all this time. And all of a sudden, RTL invited me to come and talk about I know, that was my reaction. I was like, really? So I was sitting there at the table discussing this project, and I was working at Nike. So I was not a producer, I was not a writer, but I was sitting at that table.
Yeah.
But then making TV drama is very expensive. So they said to me, Shenin, what do you think of the idea of making a movie out of this first? They said to me, Shenin, you need to find a producer for this. And then I knocked on the door of the producer, and he said, oh, yes, would love to. So that is the producer who produced the movie Alles voor elkaar, which is now still on Netflix. And that was the start of kind of that journey of being in TV and film industry.
People! Good day, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're connecting from in this beautiful, wonderful world. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of SunSide Kingdom Show, the place where we highlight individuals, role models, and true leaders in what they have accomplished in their career. Hailing from the Dutch Caribbean, we're going to get into a very special episode today. I have with me, and I'm going to look at my notes because there's so much that I have to mention about this individual. So today we're honored to have with us Shenin Lebrun. Lebrun?
Yes.
A resilient leader from Amsterdam with roots in Suriname, whose journey at Nike led her to become the EMEA. For those that don't know, EMEA, that's corporate talk for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Marketplace Director for over 18 years. In 2021, Shenin left Nike to start her own company called Hustle and Heart Consultancy. Now she helps other big companies like ABN AMRO, PricewaterhouseCoopers find and develop talent from all different backgrounds. Recognized in the Future 150, as well as recently featured on TEDx Amsterdam Women in 2023. And I just heard that as we're recording this, it's a premiere, but when you're seeing it, it's probably not. But she's also been selected as one of the 2024 MT Sprout Inclusive 30. Powerhouse of a lady, multifaceted individual, mother, career woman, mentor, entrepreneur, speaker, TV and film producer. There's so much we got to get into. People, welcome to the SunSide Kingdom Show. Welcome, Shenin.
Thank you. I'm impressed with hearing all that and don't even realize that you're talking about me, but you are, yes.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here. We're based down in the south in Eindhoven, and I know many times they say boven de rivieren, above the rivers. We don't really leave the Randstad, but you made the journey down here, so we thank you very much for that.
Yes, it was a drive, but I'm here. Yes.
Welcome. So let's dive into the current state. Who is Shenin Lebrun in 2024?
Ooh, yeah. So she's a pretty relaxed, confident woman who knows what she wants, is following her dreams, and is living life.
Nice.
Yeah. And foremost is being a mother.
Being a mom. So in 2021, you left the regular corporate life behind and entered a completely new journey.
Yeah.
What has that journey been like for you in the past 3 years?
Ooh, yeah. So I've been in that corporate environment for over 18 years. So leaving that was quite a huge decision. It took me a while to take it.
Yeah.
But the last 3 years have been such a journey of exploring and not knowing, but just going with the flow.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of entrepreneurial friends or family members, so I didn't know, the how to.
Yeah.
So I've been just learning and making mistakes, but just going with it. So I have to say that's been a journey of growing and learning and and just experiencing.
Yeah. And so it is quite interesting when I think about it, that you've had 18 years of a career in corporate, now 3 years as being an entrepreneur, and you're describing it as being very new, fresh, and exciting, and also maybe a bit scary at times, that leaving what you know behind and starting this brand new journey.
Yeah.
So what would you say were some of the key lessons that you could apply in the last 3 years that you learned during your 18-year tenure?
Oh, yeah. So I always say that my 18-year corporate career was kind of a school, that was education for becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And especially at that level. So I used to work for Nike, and being at that level of, EMEA, being a director, having a team, being working for a company that is all about storytelling and how do you present yourself. I learned so much. So I really learned also about networking within the corporate environment, which I totally use now as an entrepreneur. I think it's without managing that skill of networking, it's really difficult
100%.
To really be successful as an entrepreneur. But also the way of how you tell your story and how you show up. I also learned that at Nike, and I am applying that also as an entrepreneur. I think it's very difficult if you're an entrepreneur, but you don't want to share your story, you want to be visible. So that's definitely what I learned there. And what else would I say? I think definitely the just do it mentality. So, I mean, this brand is all about just do it.
Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, but just I think general in life, you can think a lot about things, you can strategize, you can plan, but without taking the steps, nothing is happening.
Nothing happens.
So that idea of okay to fail, or that idea of let's do it and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Took that right with me into entrepreneurial life.
Wow. That's like a nice, strong, brief summary.
Yeah. Indeed.
So the lessons in there, the just do it mentality, that was one.
Networking.
The networking is something that I've also preached throughout my career as being the blood of business.
Yeah.
Without networking, there's no business that can truly grow.
Yeah.
Whether it's finding clients or whether it's finding the right suppliers, you even use your network to find people that you can hire that become part of your team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one that I can definitely double stamp as.
And some find networking as like a dirty word, or I'm afraid to network, or how do you do it? But for me, it's just you can do it in so many ways. It's just checking in on somebody. Mm-hmm. It's reaching out to saying, hey, you're doing a great job. It's celebrating or saying happy birthday to somebody. It's finding business. It comes in so many ways, and if you find a way that works for you, so that you can just stay yourself. Because what people also don't realize is that I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't believe me, but I am an introvert. I really take my energy from just being alone. Yeah. So knowing that in a corporate environment was difficult, but also knowing that and still knowing the importance of networking and finding your way in doing that authentically is really important.
So then you learned how to become an extroverted introvert.
Indeed, yeah.
Turn on the extrovertness when need be. Yeah. But also knowing that you need your alone time and your own space to retract.
Yes.
That it's a pretty interesting concept, because I believe I have certain similarities there, even though most people will also experience myself as being more extroverted. So I can totally align with that. There was a question that just popped up in my mind, but now it's back to the corporate. Yeah. So you mentioned that you were a director and you had a team. How large was the team that you were responsible for?
At one point in time, I had a team of 5.
A team of 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And what were those persons responsible for?
Yeah, so I was responsible for the marketplace,
Yeah.
so retail. So I had also visual merchandising managers, but also cross-functionally. So I worked with merchandising, I worked with product. So I had a cross-functional team, but also in my team, more the visual merchandising managers that were also part of my team, and also people that decide on how we educate our store staff. So all those people were part of my team.
And that all came down to the physical stores?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was also responsible for the omni-channel strategy, so how people go from online shopping to offline and the other way around.
Yeah,
so it's also a little bit of the digital side.
And then that's, in essence, that was then for the whole of Europe, Middle
Yes.
East, and Africa.
Yes.
So you also traveled a lot during that time?
Yes, I traveled a lot, but I also at one point became a mother, and then I also decided to travel less.
Okay.
Yeah, and that already started when I was pregnant and I was just not feeling well. So I really said to my manager, "Hey, I need to,
Scale
take it
back a bit. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And in that, let's maybe touch on that a bit. So the corporate traveling pace. Were there any key lessons that you sort of picked up in that journey of your career?
Well, I think the pace in general in corporate is so high. It's fast moving. You need to reply quickly. You need to be on all the time. But I think that when COVID hit, it showed us that traveling is not really needed. So we were all used to traveling for all the meetings and small, big meetings.
Yeah.
But at one point we realized it's not that important, right? We can do it all through online, and that was still fine.
Yeah.
So it was part of that corporate busyness, but we realized that that's not really necessary. Yeah.
So did that also kind of play a role then? Because I'm now looking at the timeline, 2020, 2021. 2020 being working from home that we all had to do. In that period, then I could imagine that you spent a lot more time with your daughter, son?
Yes, daughter, yeah.
So working from home and being a lot more intimate with your daughter than in the regular corporate flow. Did that also start to sort of play a role in the decision making?
No. So for me, the decision making, it started already back in 2012. So in 2012, I lost my dad to a sudden heart attack.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yes, thank you. And for me, like, my dad was somebody who enjoyed life. He was every minute just fully enjoying life.
And where was he? Where did he live?
In Amsterdam, in the Netherlands,
okay.
yes, yeah. And so when he passed, there wasn't anything that I could think of that he would regret it not doing. But I couldn't say the same about myself.
Yeah.
And also back then, my work-life balance was way off. I was working too much every evening, every weekend, available during holidays. So that was for me already the trigger, like, Shenin, if you're up like next week, next year, what would you regret?
Yeah.
And that was for me the start of finding my purpose, finding what made me happy, finding what gave me energy. So that was back 2012.
That almost became a decade-long journey then.
Yes. And then on top of that, becoming 40,
Yeah.
that mix, realizing that kind of half of your life is done. What are you going to do with the second half of your life? That together made me realize like, I have bigger dreams. I want to create more impact than just the walls at Nike.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my decision on, hey, maybe it's time now to do your own thing. And Hustle and Heart Consultancy was already a side hustle for about 3 years before I had made the decision.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, Shenin, just do it.
So then, calculating backwards, it started as a side hustle in 2018-ish?
Yes, yeah.
So then there was that 6-year period between 2012 and 2018.
Yeah.
And you said you were really searching and learning and trying to understand and discover your purpose.
Yeah.
So what was some of the key things that happened in those 6 years then, before you started Hustle and Heart as your side hustle?
Yeah, so when he passed away and I asked myself, okay, what gives me energy? I started doing all the things that I loved doing, and that gave me energy. And that ranged from writing scripts for films, that was organizing events for other entrepreneurs. I was just doing all the things that made me happy, and also advising other women on their entrepreneurial life or professional life. And all that I was doing for all those years. And then in 2018, it trickled down to, I think there's one thing that really, really makes my heart beat faster, and that was the advisement and the consultancy towards entrepreneurs and towards professionals, and that then became my main focus.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So what I hear in that story is that as a designer, there are certain frameworks that we use to execute what we do.
Yeah.
One of them is the double diamond.
Okay.
And the double diamond is essentially you start with an idea or a concept.
Yeah.
And you go broad. So you open up and you start to explore and taste and research and understand everything that there is to understand about that topic or subject matter in the broadest sense. And you reach a certain point where you now have to go back narrow.
Yes.
So that's exactly sort of what took place on that 6-year journey then.
Yeah.
To then pinpoint, okay, it's this actually that I want to move forward with.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna circle back now, and we're gonna go back to. Well, they always tell me you're not allowed to ask a lady her age. You already gave some hints.
Yes, I'm 43. I'm
all right.
Perfectly okay to say.
So we're circling back 43 years ago. Where were you born?
Born in Amsterdam, also raised in Amsterdam, and still living in Amsterdam. But indeed, as you mentioned also in the intro, roots in Suriname. So both my parents are from Suriname.
Have you traveled back during your youth, or?
I did, because my grandmother was still living there, and some of my aunties were still living there.
Yeah.
But the last time I was there recently was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been some time.
Yes.
And do you have any siblings?
I have a half brother. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how was it like growing up in Amsterdam?
It was good. I had a really nice youth. Both my parents are teachers, so it was the pressure was on performing in school.
Yeah.
So I was I've had a really good life. Just studies and family and friends. And Amsterdam is such a diverse city. Most of my friends that I still consider my girlfriends now, I know them back from high school.
Oh wow!
And a really diverse group of women. So kind of the diversity and the richness of that has always played a role in my life.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And which part of Amsterdam did you grow up in?
West.
In West.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those that aren't super familiar with Amsterdam, what are sort of the key monuments or aspects of Amsterdam West?
Ooh, well, the thing that I just mentioned also, the thing that I really like from Amsterdam West, it was such a diverse group of people. Just the school that I was on, it was just a really nice mix. And also looking at the work that I do right now, which is more in the context of diversity and inclusion, that's not weird to me. That has been my life.
Yeah.
So that's really what I liked about that area. That it's just all walks of life, people from all walks of life, and nothing was strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so fast forwarding a little bit towards high school time, you just mentioned that there's still many girlfriends from high school days that you have contact with. So you did VWO and you went on to college to do international business management.
Yes.
Where did you go to college?
In Diemen in Holland.
In Diemen.
Yeah, it's called In Holland.
Oh, in Holland. Yeah. I know the school. Yes.
And I did that for 4 years, and it was a double degree course.
Okay.
So partly in the Netherlands and partly in the UK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I did a couple of semesters in the UK, and I enjoyed my life over there. Also, I used to dance when I was much younger. Yeah, I did Lucia Martas. And also when I was in the UK.
What is Lucia Martas?
It's like a dance academy.
Okay.
So I was dancing 4 days a week when I was still much younger. And but then at one point it was like, okay, do you go and study or do you go and become a dancer? And being from the Caribbean background, most of our parents would say,
that ain't happening.
you're not choosing a creative life. We need security. We need something that will bring the income. So Shenin, go and just study. So that's what I did. But I always kept on dancing. And also when I was doing my study in the UK, every weekend I went to London and also danced there. And eventually got my double degree diploma. And after that, I just knew that I wanted to work for a big corporate. And I had my top 5.
Yeah.
And Nike was number 1.
So what were the other 4?
A Unilever and a Coca-Cola. Sorry,
okay.
The top 3, Coca-Cola, Unilever, and Nike.
Okay.
Yes. And
so why was Nike number 1?
I was always wearing Nike. I loved their storytelling. I thought it was just, in my head, just an amazing brand to work for. And they also had their European headquarters in the Netherlands, in Hilversum. True. So I thought, that's the company that I would love to work for. And I just went for it.
And you got it.
Well, I did it. When I was there and I had my interview, I thought, I think I did a great job. But then I got the call that they didn't choose me. I thought, okay. And I just kept on, applying also with the different companies. And then they called me back saying, hey, it didn't work out with the first candidate. Are you still interested in a job? Yes. Nice. And I said, hell yes. And that's when my journey started back in 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the year that I moved to the Netherlands.
Oh, really? Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So... were there, if you look at the journey of ending up in corporate, also where you are right now, what key lessons would you say that you experienced or you got in your early childhood or college days, high school days? Are there any of those key moments that you can think back like, that moment really...
Well, I think the working hard piece, the working twice as hard piece, has always stayed with me. Was there?
Could you elaborate on that? What do you mean by working twice as hard? Yeah. I feel I know what you mean, but I'm not sure if everyone knows.
Hopefully will know. But as you know, being a woman of color, being a Black woman, my mother always told me, you need to work twice as hard to kind of prove yourself, to be successful in this world. And that's always something that stayed with me. And that's what got me through, college and high school and landed my first job. And that helped me to kind of also climb that corporate ladder. But I also realized at one point in corporate that working twice as hard doesn't get you all the way to the top. It just gets you so far. Yeah. And then other things like, networking, personal branding, self-promotion, and having your sponsors and your mentor and that whole strategic political game. Yeah,
there's a whole strategic political game that in corporate you have to learn. Yeah. Learn or get burned.
Exactly. But kind of the working hard that was instilled in me as of a young age, and I'm still doing that now. I'm doing it for myself, which is nicer. Yeah. And I also know from experience what else is needed to be successful. And I think also just being yourself, and that's enough. You know? I think that is also something that was always. Especially my dad, said to me, "It's enough what you're doing. It's okay," and that is also something that I just bring with me also now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're a mom. How old is your daughter?
She's 5.
She's 5.
Yeah, and counting. She just turned 5 in November, but she's counting every night till she's 6. Mom, how many nights? No, exactly how many nights? I'm like, child, it's far out. You just turned 5.
You need to download. I think there's like these apps that you can download where you put in like a date and then it will show you like the countdown every day.
That's a good one. I will just show it to her, like, look here. But she's 5. Yeah, she's 5.
Awesome. That's a beautiful age. Beautiful age as well. Mine's are 6 right now.
Oh.
So I can also relate to that part of the journey. Awesome.
Yeah.
And what would you say it's like to be an involved mom and also an entrepreneurial woman? Like, I know there's quite some stuff to unpack there.
Yes. Well, what I would say is that it's hard.
Yeah.
I think the mix of being an entrepreneur and, in my case, being a single mother, that combination, sometimes I think it's impossible, but definitely my mom is making it possible.
Okay.
And just my vangnet, how do you say that?
Your support system, your community.
Exactly, my community.
As they say, it takes a village. No, your village. That's the word. It takes a village to raise a child. Your village.
Yeah. So it's really, my mom who helps me sometimes to pick her up from school. But then you also have like after care in school. She goes there. So it's that mix, but also being an entrepreneur and having that flexibility helps. But just that combination and just having also the mindset of wanting to be successful and what that means. And, I had the success as a corporate person. And now I want to have that same success as an individual, as an entrepreneur. And that puts pressure on yourself. And I'm also doing the things that I'm doing now for her to show her what is possible, but also to make life in corporate or in media more easy for her. So all that pressure, but then foremost still being a great mom, that combination sometimes just it's so difficult. But it's I do it definitely. She's my drive. She's definitely my drive to do what I'm doing now. So that helps.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm paused for a moment and just sort of leaving it sink in. Well, I also come from a single mom household. They got divorced when I was 3-4 years old.
Okay.
And I have 6 sisters.
Nice.
No brothers.
Yeah.
So I grew up around a lot of female energy, quote unquote. So I can also understand and have a deep understanding for what that means and what that can be like. But I think it's also important to share these parts of the stories with young women that might be starting on their own journeys and going through something similar at the moment.
Yeah, I think having focus helps, having clear boundaries helps. And I mean, when I was already in corporate and becoming a mom, all of a sudden you have to have boundaries. You need to pick her up. Before that, you would just stay long. It also kind of shapes your life in a better way, being a mother and bringing that balance in. It's not easy, but it's doable when you have the right support system. And you have a clear idea of what you want to do with your life or in your life and for whom you're doing it.
So those aspects became a lot clearer for you after you got your daughter.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So coming back to this purpose question, right? Because I do feel like from your energy that you're definitely way more living your purpose at this moment. But could you remember what was some of the key things that brought you to understanding what that is for yourself?
Yeah, so in corporate, climbing that corporate ladder, more often I became the only one in the room, the only woman in the room, definitely the only Black woman in the room, often the only person of color in the room. And that puts some pressure on you, right? Puts pressure on you to, I need to perform, I need to act some kind of way. And I don't want that for my daughter. So I don't want her to be the only one in a room. I want her to see multiple people that look like her. And also being in corporate, I didn't see many role models that looked like me. And I want her to have more role models at higher level in corporate. So that purpose was driven from the situations that I have been in.
Yeah.
And put pressure on me or limited me or were challenging my journey. And I want to remove those for her. So that is where my purpose is coming from. And not only for her, because she's, a younger generation, but there's so many people out there now, our age, a little bit younger. And I also want to change that setup for them.
Oh, amazing. So in your journey, you also described that you started to write and want to produce TV, film. I know that there's so besides the clear focus of bringing inclusivity and diversity into the corporate world. There's also this creative aspect of the filmmaking and producing. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, I will. Well, let me first tell this. Or we have to go way back. So back in 2003, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
when you first got to Nike.
Yes. So the friends that I'm mentioning that we're still friends. So we were sitting in a restaurant and we were not recognizing ourselves on TV. So we were like,
I remember that as well.
Yeah, it's now less white, but back then it was really white. So we were like, we need to change that. So we have no experience at all in this industry, but we said we need to change that. So we said, we need to write our own series. So we came up with a series that was about us, a diverse group of friends coming of age. So we started writing, we started contacting producers, people to write with us. And it was just a really fun journey. And at one point, we even had a producer that was interested in our concept. Yeah. But we had to sell our rights. And back then, we were like, sell our rights? No, this is our baby. We're not going to sell our rights. So we said, thank you, mister. Yeah. And we moved on. And at one point, we said, okay, it's not going to happen. But eventually we didn't realize our dreams. And back in 2012, when I lost my dad, I needed some distraction. So I said to the girls, I want to rewrite this thing again. And they said, Shenin, you go ahead. It's yours. We let you do your thing.
Because this is 9 years later, everyone is sort of in their grown-up life. And
the characters were literally
different phase.
Yes, the characters were literally 10 years older now. So I started rewriting. I even invested in creating a pilot. So I was just doing everything just to also keep busy. Because in my mind, this was something that would never happen. So I thought it was going to distract me for many, many years. So I started rewriting. I created a pilot. I created a DVD, and I sent the DVD over to RTL. I thought, I can produce a series for them. And remind you, I was still working at Nike all this time. And all of a sudden, RTL invited me to come and talk about it. I know, that was my reaction. I was like, really? So I was sitting there at the table discussing this project, and I was working at Nike. So I was not a producer, I was not a writer, but I was sitting at that table. But then making TV drama is very expensive. So they said to me, Shenin, what do you think of the idea of making a movie out of this first? I was like, good, let's do that. And then really fast forwarding to I think 2016, they said to me, Shenin, you need to find a producer for this. And then I knocked on the door of the producer who offered us the proposal back in 2003.
Oh, wow, 13 years later.
And he said, oh, yes, would love to. So that is the producer who produced the movie Alles voor elkaar, which is now still on Netflix. And that was the start of kind of that journey of being in TV and film industry. But just...
Oh, so this idea that started back in 2003, first time around, you guys said no, but you probably also wasn't truly ready to make that type of step.
No.
13 years later, you reconnect with the same producer. He says yes. Yeah. And it's currently on Netflix.
Yes. So we had a premiere in 2017.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was still I was still intrigued by the process of having an idea and then seeing it on TV.
Come to life.
And having more diversity in storytelling. So in 2021, when I left Nike, I set up Hustle and Heart Consultancy, and I officially set up a TV and film production company, co-founded it with somebody. And we're now still creating TV shows and movies. And so that's how that all kind of came about.
So essentially then you how many companies do you have?
2.
Let me just ask the question to see if we have to unpack a couple more.
No, just to Hustle and Heart and EMEA Creators.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So how many, because you're saying TV shows, films, how many projects have you guys produced?
Yeah, so we just now, in May 7th, our first series will air, which is really great.
Where will it be airing?
In NTR, so on the NPO, so the Dutch public broadcaster. And then we're also now working on various other projects, but they're in an earlier phase. And one of them is called Hotel Paramaribo, which is going to be a movie project, which is also kind of a little bit inspired about my story. So my grandmother used to have a hotel in Suriname. And back also when I was in corporate, I had this dream of leaving that all behind, in that purpose-finding journey, leaving it all behind and going there and reviving the hotel. Never had the balls to do it, but now creating a movie out of it.
Yeah.
So that is also one of the projects that is happening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So on the first one, the first one that you guys produced, you wrote the entire thing?
No. So it's very funny because I don't have a network experience, education in this industry. So it was really my idea, and I really had kind of an outline of the characters, but somebody else wrote it.
Okay.
And somebody else directed it, and somebody else produced it. So that was also the trigger of becoming a producer, because I didn't really have a role. I just came up with the idea, but then you lose your role within the project. So that's when I also realized, okay, if you really want to do something in this industry, as I'm not a director or a writer, then the producer is kind of maybe the role that fits well with me. So making sure that from an idea to realize it, that is then becoming my responsibility as a producer.
Okay. Could you unpack a little bit more what exactly a producer does? Yeah,
so a producer, you can either have your own ideas and making sure that you find the right writers, making sure that you get the budget. When you have the budget and you have a goal, making sure that you have the crew to produce it. So it's really making sure that the one thing that you want to produce, that will be a film or on a TV, that whole journey of people, money, everything comes together.
So essentially, it kind of sounds like the producer is sort of the corporate person that can juggle these multiple balls.
Yes.
Knows how to network well, because you have to get all of these different roles together. To form, quote unquote, the Avengers team.
No, definitely. And also being able to sell or pitch a story, which is also something that I learned in corporate life. Definitely
the marketing and sales of it. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
From idea to actual production.
Exactly. Yeah.
Knowing what you know today, and all that you have achieved so far, and also I can imagine all that you have set in your mind that you still want to achieve, and the path that you're currently on. What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Knowing what I know today, I would probably say something like you will be most successful, or you will fly the highest when you use your own wings. So, growing up and even still recent, sometimes you just look, how should you do it? Or how are others doing it? How is society doing it? But I continuously realize that when you just do your thing the way you think it should go, that's when it works.
So when you learn to listen better and truly to your own intuition.
Yeah. Intuition, believe in what you're doing, what your goal is, then you will make it. You will fly high and you will be successful. And the other thing, what I realize is that what is meant for you will be for you. So, for example, also with the Nike. So in the beginning, I got a rejection.
Yeah.
But it was meant
for you.
Yeah, it was for you because they called me afterwards. And a lot of these things also, I had Hustle and Heart as a side hustle, and people were like, "Are you leaving Nike? Are you not leaving Nike? What are you doing?" And I didn't know. And only at that moment when you know. Yeah, and it was then meant for me to make that decision. So, life is just set in its ways, and however path you need to walk on, you will walk on it.
Yeah.
Whatever is meant for you will be for you. And is there something else? And maybe because I was a very serious kid, I was very very serious with everything. So maybe knowing now, I would definitely say enjoy more of the world, enjoy more of the small things, enjoy more of family and friends. To kind of, because it's nothing is a guarantee, and also all of a sudden you're 43. And you're like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
So enjoy more of life already when you're 19 or 18 or 25, because you will never get that piece of your life back.
Yeah.
So that would be my 3 lessons or tips to
very good lessons, very good tips. And would you say, as a 43-year-old, do you as a person feel very different than your 18-year-old counterpart?
Well, I'm still a kind of serious, but maybe a little bit more relaxed now. But I think in the core, I'm still the same.
Yeah.
I think in the core, I'm still...
and the reason why I asked that question is also to maybe mirror that back to those that are 18, 20, 25 right now, that may be thinking in their head, oh, I'll get serious when I'm 40, or I'll do this when I'm then. I believe that part of you just very much stays the same as even as that 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And your experiences sort of add color and flair to everything that's about you.
Yeah.
But truly in your core, you remain the same.
Yeah, I believe
so.
That too.
If there's any changes that you believe you want to make in your life today, go ahead and start making them, and don't wait for 30, 40, whichever age to make those changes.
No, I agree. In the core, you remain the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we look into the crystal ball of the future, what are some of the plans that you would the ones that you want to share, obviously?
No, definitely. No. I think looking in the crystal ball, I hope Hustle and Heart just becomes a really successful business that is not as much so dependent on me, but that I can just be there, really be the CEO, and have more trainers and have more impact, and so that hopefully that will happen. And I hope to create lots of content when it comes to video and films, and maybe do something that goes international.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that would be amazing. And just do a lot of traveling with the little one. And hopefully, my daughter just growing up as being a wonderful person. I think, I'm very hopeful for the future. Very positive, and the things that I'm doing, I don't foresee something totally different than what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Just the things that I'm doing now becoming bigger and creating more impact.
Yeah. And I don't think we actually sort of touched on at least the aspect that I know that you do, and I've heard you do so well. Because all ladies that have attended, including my young niece, I think she was in the mix of older women, and there were some surprising and let's say different nuggets that were unlocked that took a while to sink in. Because she's 21.
Yeah.
And she attended one of the meetups.
The sisterhood events?
The sisterhood events.
Yeah.
So could you unpack a bit what you guys do in the sisterhood events?
Yeah, so sisterhood
and
event.
how does it relate to Hustle and Heart? It's an event under the brand.
Yeah. So it's an event under the brand, starting from the fact that I feel that women amongst each other can support each other more. I just started, or first it was an online thing, and then I started to create physical events. So female entrepreneurs, female professionals coming together and supporting each other, rooting for each other, having fun with each other. So it's a networking event, but we're just doing it in a way that makes it fun, and that you get value out of it, you get energized from it, and you just go out with valuable contacts. And that falls under the umbrella of Hustle and Heart Consultancy, and we do it 4 times a year. And there's always a group every time when people leave. There's like, I don't know how you get these women together. I'm like, yeah, it's a particular type of woman comes to it. The woman that wants to see another woman shine, that wants to see another woman thrive, and is, if you're successful, I'm successful. That type of mindset, those type of women come there. Because
essentially it's those women that are also inviting people in their network, saying, girl.
Yeah. Next time you should join me. Literally, this is what people like. I was talking to somebody who joined. She said, Shenin, I was so energized. After the session, I called my friends and I said, mark this next date and you have to come. So that is kind of the women that come, and so we do some dancing.
My wife has went to a couple events now. Yeah. She first got invited by Nicole.
Yes.
And you guys work together at Nike,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it went exactly like that. Like we were having one of these conversations in our friend group at some point, and Nicole mentioned that, you should come to this event. It's awesome, blah blah blah. And she went to it, and then eventually she started to also spread the word. And so again, the power of networking and the power of bringing true added value.
Yeah, and being there for each other, and just wanting to see each other rise and shine and be successful, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So that's where sisterhood, and some people hate the word, some people connect it to race, some people, I'm not bothered about how you see it.
But the from what I understood, the women that come it's very diverse.
Yes.
It's all backgrounds.
Yeah, all background, all races. It's so diverse, and that what makes it really nice. It's professionals, so people working in corporate, but it's also entrepreneurs, and I think that combination is really nice. There are a lot of people in corporate that dream of becoming an entrepreneur, or have this entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah. So that I think that mix works really well. So it's just an amazing, and I always give a workshop around a particular topic that is relevant. So it could be around visibility, personal branding, self-promotion, mentoring, you name it. So it's a mix of really having fun, having great food, conversation, but also learning something.
Yeah. And interesting enough, you just mentioned a keyword, mentoring.
Yeah.
Can you think back on certain moments in life where you believe either you went out seeking it, or organically someone was your mentor at a specific moment, and then what that did for you?
Yeah.
The importance of mentorship?
Definitely. So there's 2 things popping in my mind. So when I was in corporate, at one point, I realized that having a mentor is really important. Mm-hmm. So there was one moment in my career where I was for a long time working in product development, but I wanted to move into marketing. And then typically in corporate, they were like, no, you work in product. You cannot move into a different pipeline. And I was like, why is that? And then I reached out to get a mentor.
Don't tell me no.
Exactly. That doesn't work in my mind. So I got a mentor, and this was a senior director who was already in marketing, who was already in brand. And it took me a long time to ask her, because I was, will she say yes? Will she be busy? Will she say, Shenin, what are you bothering me for? But I eventually asked her, and she said yes. She said, oh, I would love to. And also within 8 months, I was able to make the jump.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And another moment.
Because how do you think that would have gone if you didn't get connected to a mentor?
I think it would either take longer or wouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
And I think usually when you have a mentor, it just speeds things up.
Yeah.
So that was for me an ideal move. And I did that multiple times. There was also a point when I was a manager for many years, and I thought that I was ready to become a director. But I thought that, but not all people amongst me were thinking that, especially the leaders. So also that moment, I realized like, oh, what do I need to do? You know, what is that
what
gap?
Is what is the X factor of the director that...
exactly. Yeah. What is the perception that people have that I maybe need to change? And also then I reached out to a mentor to say, hey, I want to make that step up. Can you support me? What do I need to do? And then he gave me the platform to show up as a director in the key meetings. Yeah. And also within 1.5 years, you know, I made that jump. Yeah. And now, and I do have to say that in corporate world, it's something that you do often. Yeah. But then as an entrepreneur, I didn't do that. I didn't have a mentor. But just this year, I started having a mentor, Samantha, and my God, it's the same effect on, you know, on your business. You're just growing rapidly as a person, as an entrepreneur in your business. So I would always recommend, and it's just finding the right person that adds value, that figure out first what you need. I think that's always important. Yeah. And then find that person that can speed up that process towards your goals.
Awesome. Beautiful. Is there is there anything else in particular that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, my company is called Hustle and Heart Consultancy, and I doubted for a long time about that name, especially the word hustle. Yeah. Because for some it still has a negative connotation. Yeah. But for me, the hustle mentality means dreaming big. It means having the courage to go for something. Yeah. It means being okay to fail, because you fail, you grow. And it
fail forward.
Fail forward, exactly. Yeah. And it means just to, and that I can say that because I work for the brand for such a long time, it means that just do it mentality. Yeah. So for me, it's such a positive mindset mentality. So I would encourage people, you know, to dream big, take the courage, because sometimes people aren't smarter or having a bigger network. They just have the courage to do something.
The courage to take that step.
Exactly, exactly. And just do it. And for me, a moment where I'm proud of, just not that long ago, Nike gave me a call. So Nike's now a customer of mine. Yes. And they just gave me a call, and I think I can share this, but they just gave me a call that they have a new global strategy. And part of that strategy, it comes with a couple of behaviors. And the 3 behaviors are hustle, 1, heart, 2, and here to win, 3.
Wow.
And they reached out if I wanted to give a workshop on, you know, how do you get that hustle mentality back? How do you get that passion back? How do you get it? So when they called me and I had a conversation, I was like, yes, this name is just fine. This mentality is just fine. You know, it's good. Yeah. So I would really stimulate.
But it comes back to what you were saying earlier with trusting that intuition and trusting to the best way it truly works is when you do it your way. Yeah, yeah.
And also just going after your dreams and not giving up. And so I would, if there's something that I would like to share, is just stimulate that, you know, that mindset of hustle and heart. And then anything is possible. I mean, working at Nike and realizing a movie, I mean, who would have think, you know, it is possible. Yeah. You just have to really believe in yourself, and you don't have to continuously believe in yourself, because also go with ups and downs. Yeah. And I'm not always this confident woman. It also goes with ups and downs.
But when you zoom out and you look at the bigger picture, then that confidence is always present. Yeah. The let's say the degree to which the cup is filled up may vary depending on seasons and life circumstances, etc.
Yeah.
But it always contains some type of content.
Definitely, yeah. So I would stimulate to think big, and also going back maybe to 2012, losing my dad. He was 63, so he passed away in April.
That is still fairly young.
Fairly young, yeah. He passed away in April, and after the summer he would have retired.
Oh, wow.
So life is not a given. So if there's anything else that I would like to share is, knowing that, don't wait for, permission, or don't wait for retirement or when you get ill and all of a sudden then you think like, so just go and do the things that give you passion. And if you don't know what it is, go and figure it out. Go on that journey.
Broad.
Yeah.
Start tasting.
Exactly. And then at one point there will be like, this is it. And that could be a small thing or it could be a big thing. It could mean that you would leave the thing that you're doing now. You don't know. But that journey on its own is already worth trying it.
Yeah. Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah. Shenin, thank you very, very much for coming all the way down in Eindhoven.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And being the first person to represent Suriname in our SunSide Kingdom journey. So can you share, we'll definitely have them in the description below, but maybe some of the key URLs where people can find you today.
Yeah, so I'm easy to find on LinkedIn, just under my name, Shenin Lebrun. Instagram also, Shenin Lebrun. So it's definitely easy to catch me. And
there's a Hustle and Heart website?
Yes, so www.hustleandheartconsultancy.com. And always up for a coffee, could be digital, could be live, just chatting and sharing stories and experiences, always up for that.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And thank you guys at home for watching. This has been, another amazing conversation for myself. And I hope it has brought also tremendous value to you guys. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know if there were any key questions that I might have missed that I can circle back around at another point in time and ask. We would like to know. And share this with a friend. Share this with someone that is now in specific parts in their journey that they can definitely learn something from our amazing conversation with Shenin today. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Bless.